But no, I was mentioning the 9 guys that we currently have on the roster on defense. And obviously, we mentioned Ronald as that Swiss Army knife, but all of the different guys that are there currently on the roster, you look at a guy like Pedro, he's trying to have a rebound year. Steon's trying to have a rebound year. Matt Edwards coming off of injury. You want Steon to sit there and be healthy for the entire time. Guys are getting older and more experienced and hopefully looking for more first-team minutes, whether you're talking about Dominic Jonqui or Caden Moore. Barakal, you're looking for him to kind of become more integrated. And so how these 9 guys are going to be there, and obviously in Mihai and players like that, you have these 9 guys. And to your point, I'm interested to see where Tata Martino sees these guys here in this first part of training camp as pitchers and catchers report today.
Well, I think the other aspect you got to think of is what is Tata going to be asking these guys to do differently from what Dyla or anyone before him was maybe asking them to do? Is it take more chances and leave their center backs more one-on-ones and get up the field? And is that certainly the strengths of a Pedro Amador or Thomas Jacob, or is that something better for Matt Edwards or whomever it may be? And so I think it's going to be really interesting to see what it looks like from the back in terms of the aggression, pushing up the field, supporting the midfield, sending balls in, stuff like that, mixed with, are we locking it down in the back? This is a team that has not scored enough goals in the past couple of seasons, right? And so how do you get that to be the case? How are you more dangerous moving forward? Do you have to commit more guys? Or is it a different play style and maybe figuring out some things? And if you are committing more guys, what does that mean for your right back, for your left back, and even for the center backs, maybe playing, further up the field as well? And also, what does that mean in terms of individual defending, risk-taking, stuff like that? And so, like a lot of it, again, there's going to be so much change, in my opinion, in terms of how it looks, but there's not that much change, in my opinion, in terms of the personnel. And so now you've got to kind of reassess some of the young guys that you talk about, even some of the mainstays that you talk about, and say, is this guy the best for what we're now asking him to do, even though maybe they were brought in to do something a little bit different? And for guys you mentioned, Steon Gregerson, I think is the perfect one to discuss. If he can stay healthy, he's looked very good. He has not been able to stay healthy. Now that hopefully he can stay healthy, is he going to look as good being asked to do maybe something the same, but maybe something different? And I think you go across the board for all of them and ask that exact same question. Is Mihai good enough for what you are asking him to do or what you were asking him to do? Same with Matt Edwards and Jacob and Pedro Amador and the whole group of them. And so you do kind of need 7, 8, 9 guys to assess and say, all right, I know this guy may be making more money or maybe better at this aspect of the game, but here's what we actually need from this position. And so now you have a number of guys that can kind of give you a good look to say, here's our best back line, here's our best defensive midfield, here's what we want to do. And I don't have the answer. Like, I know we've seen from Tata in years past what it looks like, both in Atlanta and elsewhere. But even Tata's not going to be so stubborn as to not modify his ideal plan a little bit based on whatever personnel he has. And so I'm fascinated to see what he wants to do and who he's going to do it with.
All right, so then we mentioned the defense. Let's go to the midfield, and I want to break this down with you here. So you're looking technically, and this is just how it's designated by position, not necessarily what they do. So the 11 midfielders currently on the roster: Miggy, Alzate, Jay Fortune, Saba, Alexi, Mosqueda, who's on loan, and so he's kind of just off to the side, even though he's occupying a U22 till the end of the fiscal year. Tristan Muyumba, Santi Pita, Will Riley, Cooper Sanchez, Aiden Torres. With Miggy, obviously, you're looking for an off season, hopefully, to turn the engine back over and get to where Miggy can be as a player in his early 30s. You look at Alzate, you're looking for him to be that 6 that you were looking at last year. You want Jay Fortune to come back healthy, and you can continue to curse the Saudi Arabian national team up and down and sideways 3 days a week. Saba, you're looking for an increase in production. Alexi, you saw how Alexi could integrate, and he was kind of your point guard. You're looking for more higher numbers from your point guard coming up this year and all of that. Tristan Muyumba, an up and down season. Santi Pita, I'm looking forward to seeing how he integrates, probably going to be spending more time with the twos. Will Riley, when he was healthy, he turned into a pain in the butt. We can go back to the Cincinnati game, and that's your shining example of that. Cooper Sanchez, once again, younger player, probably spending more time with the twos, but you never know with how he's advanced with his time with the national team. And then Aiden Torres also probably spending more time with the twos. When you stare at those 11 midfielders, what sticks in your head?
Two of these guys are going to be real unhappy with their role, is how I view it. And I think certainly you look at Moranchuk and Miggy, those guys are going. You mentioned Alzate, and with Sleesh departing, maybe he's the one that fills in full time there at that role. And that leaves someone or a number of someones. And most notably, I look at Jay Fortune, Tristan Moyamba, Will Riley. If you're playing four in the midfield, and I've already gave you three. Mm-hmm. Now there's Fortune, there's Moyamba, and there's Will Riley, and there's only one open spot. And so two of those guys are not going to be happy probably with the playing time. And it may rotate. You may end up playing five in the midfield with just one up top if you're going like a 4-5-1, something like that. And so maybe there's some opportunity, but I forgot Saba as well. And so Saba's in that group of at times he's been dangerous. At times he's kind of disappeared. Moyamba at times has been brilliant. At times has costed you goals. I thought Jay Fortune was outstanding up until the injury. I didn't really have a ton of complaints about him, except we needed you on the field and you can't control it. But and then Will Riley, I thought was very good. Certainly learning the league a little bit. I kind of view him more as and I could be wrong. You've seen him more than I have, but at the MLS level, I kind of view him more as a defensive midfielder and not necessarily positionally playing back, but just in terms of the style and what he brings. He's going to crack some bodies in the middle, and he's not going to be scared to do that. And I think the team needs a little bit of that, but I don't necessarily view him and Moranchuk as playing the same style of midfield. That's all I'm suggesting. And so you got three or four guys for maybe one or two open spots. And then you mentioned the rest of the guys, maybe with the twos to continue to develop. So again, it's a good problem to have. You've got to stay healthy. I really want to see, and we talked about it over the course of last year, John, I want to see Matt Edwards and Jay Fortune stay healthy and just see what they can do. More than anyone else on the roster, I want to see those two guys in the starting lineup. I've been very intrigued by Dom Chong-Qui, but I'd rather see Matt Edwards. I'm very intrigued by Will Riley for sure, but I'd rather see Jay Fortune. I think these are two really backbone-ish pieces that have shown themselves to be valuable. And I just need those two guys to stay healthy, and I'd like to see them in the lineup. And again, it all comes down to what Tata's going to be asking each member of this team to do, because I thought they were very good in Dyla's system. What do they look like in Tata's?
All right, so let's go up top. Obviously, Ashton Gordon's been loaned out to Chattanooga FC, so we'll be seeing him in MLS Next Pro. That's going to be interesting going up against Ashton Gordon with Atlanta United too, with that rivalry. You've got Luke Brennan, Latte Lot, Jamal, and Cayman Togashi. We know what Togashi brings to the table. Togashi is, you go to the bullpen, time to bring you in. Spot start, multiple competitions, what have you. Luke Brennan, we got to see what he's capable of doing on the wings. Also got to see that with the national team. Now you're looking at Latte Lot and Jamal. I yield the floor.
I will put it this way, John. I'll put it this way. The contract cannot be the decision maker in this discussion. Mm-hmm. I understand that if you're looking from a business perspective, Latte Loth is starting over Jamal Tiare. And maybe he should. But last year, he was completely disconnected from the entire midfield and from the entire attack. Now, it's a different system. And so you take a look at it with Tata. Can he do what he was brought here to do, which is score goals? But if he's disconnected again, I'm not running him out there just because he happens to be healthy right now. I think we saw Jamal Tiare, one, be dangerous, and two, be involved. I don't care. And again, I don't own the team. I'm not the GM or the director of sport, whatever. I don't care. I need the guy who's out there to be impactful on a game in, game out basis. And if we pay the money and Latte Loth is not being impactful, then Tia Ray gets the start. It's got to be that simple for me. You can't keep running a guy out there if he's not going to be involved. And again, the hope for me is that Latte Loth comes back fully healthy in a new system and is involved and is getting things done. But I'd be ready to make that change if he's not. It's that simple for me because I saw a guy in Latte Loth a year ago outside of the start where he had like 5 goals in 3 games, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. You take that off the table. What do you have? 1 goal more than I did the rest of the way, and so that's not good enough from a guy you bring in at high money DP, and it's just not good enough, especially when you have a backup who was getting the job done in a variety of ways, including in ways that you don't count on Latte Loth. Tia Ray's defending. He's dropping back into the midfield. He's running 8 miles. You know what I mean? And so, again, the money is the money. I understand that. If that's what gets him the first shot, then fine. But at some point early in the season, if he's not getting it done and it doesn't look right, then make the change. You can't just running him out there because he's got a contract. That's not good enough. And quite frankly, I think Tata is a sort of powerful voice that can make that call, right? That no one's going to sit here and tell Tata Martino, hey, we paid him this guy, so you got to play him. No. Tata, in his words, I'm sure, maybe a little bit different than how I'll say it, say this guy's not scored goals for us, and so we need someone who will. And if that's the discussion, then so be it. In terms of Luke Brennan, I thought he was very good on the left. I think he's very dangerous. I'd like to continue seeing him develop as well, but he's got to stay confident. That's his thing. You're on the field to run it, guys, and make guys look stupid. And he did that a fair enough amount. And so I think there's opportunity for him as well.
All right, that's the early rundown as pitchers and catchers report for Atlanta United, the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground. Great to see you, my friend. It's the beginning of season 10 for us and with Atlanta United. Thanks for being the part that you always are. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah, it's cold out there, so make sure they get their leggings on. Make sure you're wearing your arm sleeves. Protect the muscles. We don't want to start this season with any setbacks. So I know they got a great training staff, but maybe an indoor practice or two wouldn't be the worst thing here as the temperature is below freezing this morning.
Yeah, they need to take advice from a guy who likes to run out in these conditions. So
look, I ran this morning. I did wear calf sleeves. Oh. That's my like middle ground. It was like, I won't wear long pants. I'll get too hot. I wore a short sleeve shirt. It took the full 2.5 miles for my hands to unfreeze. They were frozen claws for 2.25, maybe 2.5 miles. But after that, they were fine. So the next 3 to 3.5 miles, I was feeling good. I was yelled at by the entirety of my run club for wearing shorts and no gloves, but I feel like I made the right decision after 15 minutes of frozen block hands.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be one of those years. Great to see you, my friend. Glad you survived. Continue thawing out. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, John.